Recording. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for being here, ladies. I am very excited today. We're having a guest, and this is Theresa Pool. I met her because she came into the spa, and as you might know, I get into conversation with my clients, and I found out that this beautiful lady, she what she does, she has diabetes. She has a diagnosis of diabetes, but she only manages it with her diet, no medication. And I thought that was not only healthy, but well, basically, it's a very good thing if you don't want to have medication in your life, because medication comes with side effects. So what I'm trying to do here is not only help you lose the weight, but um, create a life where you are taking care of yourself. So it's not only about the weight, but your whole life, your physical, your emotional, your spiritual. And I think this story can be very beneficial to, well, honestly, to the world. But let's start with this group. Um, and again, Theresa Pool, um, uh, is there something that you want to say about yourself? Anything important that we want to know before we start this interview?
No, it's just that I've been diabetic for over 20 years,
Mhm.
and it was a really rough road in the beginning. And when they wanted to put me on medication and insulin, I decided to take a different route and take care of myself. And that's what I've done. And I continue that for the last 15 years. And I'm in a good spot right now. And I'd like to share that information.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. I really, truly appreciate it. So let's start with, how was your life before even knowing that you might have a health condition? What
Well,
was your diet or
yeah, well,
activity?
it started like I'm born and raised in Ohio. And in 1999, I had a physical. And a doctor told me at that time, he says, your blood sugar is slightly elevated, but don't worry about it. So I didn't. I was younger. I didn't worry about it. So it was less than 5 years later, I was a full-fledged diabetic. And at that time, I was so angry with that doctor because if I would have done, and back then, you couldn't really do your own research like you can now with, the internet and all the things that we can figure out how to, self-help to take care of ourselves. That didn't exist back then. And so I never did anything about it. So when I became a full diabetic, and then that was, it was so hard on me that I denied it. I was in denial for years. I continued to eat what I want, drank what I want, not knowing that diabetes is a disease that affects every organ in your body. You don't see it on the outside, it's on the inside. And it gets to that point to where things will start surfacing on the outside. And so it was probably 10 years in, and we moved from Ohio up here when I retired to Wisconsin, Eagle River. My husband was from Three Lakes and he wanted to come back home. So we came up here. So I had a sore on my foot, and I was like, I better go to the doctor to see what this sore is. So I made an appointment, went to the doctor, and she said it was a diabetic ulcer. And she said, if it wasn't infected. She said, but if it got infected, they would probably cut my foot off. That was all it took for me. I'm like, no, you're not removing my body parts. This is not happening. And so at that point, they wanted to put me on 4 diabetic medicines and insulin, and I refused. I went home, I did all my own research, and I found low carb, no sugar way of eating that would help control your diabetes. My A1C at that time was 12.5. 12.5 is diabetic coma stage, where most people don't wake up. So I did my research, started my low carb, no sugar diet, went back in 3 months for my checkup. My A1C was down to 5.6. And all I did was change my food, never took any medication. My wound on my foot was healed. No infection ever became of it, and it was healed. And I've just continued that lifestyle all these years, and it's probably been 10 or more years. And my A1C has never been higher than 5.9 during this time. And I still, to this day, I still eat the same. And I just, it's just, at first it was hard. It's so hard to give up all the good things that we all love. But when I thought about, this, I have to do this, I ignored it for so many years. And then I thought, I can't do this anymore. I have to do the right thing for myself, for my body. I didn't want to be, because it starts with a foot, and then it's a leg, and then it's your other foot, then it's another leg. And most of them that don't control their diabetes end up in wheelchairs with no legs. And I wasn't going to go down that road. So, and when I just started, it is really hard in the beginning. You drink lots of water. All I did was walk. I never did a lot of exercise. I'm a walker. I love to walk. So that's what I did. And it wasn't that hard. And after a while, the walking, at one point I'd weighed 298 pounds, and I've lost over 100 pounds over the years. And it was all from walking and just eating the right foods. And I eat lots of protein. I eat vegetables. There's a lot of things that they tell you, a dietitian that they give you through your diabetic doctor. They give you all this food to eat, all these different, because they want you to have so many grains. They want you to have this, and they want you to eat 150 carbs a day. Well, I was eating less than 20 carbs a day, and I was just fine. I was controlling my diabetes with that. I was losing weight with that. I was feeling so much better, because when your blood sugar is so high, you're exhausted, you're tired, all you do is sleep, you have no energy. And I started getting all that back. And I'm just like, and I actually walked out of the dietitian's office when she gave me this list of food that they wanted me to eat. And I said, I've been doing it this way for 3 months, and look at my A1C. I am not going to eat the foods that you tell me to eat. The foods that they tell you to eat, the many carbs they want you to have a day, will keep you on diabetic medicine. It will keep you on the medicine, because I have friends that are diabetics, and they can't control what they eat. So they'll eat half a key lime pie and they'll take a shot. Where me is, I'll avoid it. I won't eat the pie, and I don't have to take a shot. All the shot does is cover it up. It's still there. It's still, and when the shot wears off, there you go. And the hardest thing with diabetes is you don't want to get those up and downs, because it'll, you got the low blood sugar, and you eat something that your blood sugar is going to spike. Okay. Every time you get a spike, it affects an organ in your body, whether it be your heart, your kidneys, every organ is affected by diabetes in your body. So when you get them spikes, it hurts you on the inside. You don't feel anything on the outside. Oh, I'm fine. I can have another piece of pie because I feel fine. But that's not the way it works. And once people understand it and get that, and once they start eating the right foods, and they start feeling better, and they start losing weight, and they start, and it's all about attitude too. And then they get a good attitude. Oh, I'm doing so good. I'm going to keep this up and keep this up. And just one thing leads to another. And eventually, it's a way of life. It's not temporary. It's not a temporary diet. Oh, I can lose all this weight, then I'm going to go off this and I'm going to start eating again. It doesn't work like that, especially if you're diabetic. It's a way of life, and you eat that way for the rest of your life. And if you do it the right way and eliminate all the sugars and carbs out of your life, and you can survive without all the carbs. We don't need all them carbs in our body. Most of the carbs are bad carbs anyhow. There are good carbs. There's some good carbs in green vegetables and different things like that are just very low carb. And that's all you need. But you look at pastas, you look at potatoes, you look at rice. Those are all the starchy carbs. Every starchy carb, once it's in your body doesn't process it as a carb. It processes as sugar. Your body doesn't know the difference. And it's just like eating fruit. There's sugar and fruit galore. Bananas are loaded, apples are loaded, oranges are loaded, peaches are everything. Berries, you can have berries. They're lowest on the glycemic index for sugar. Have some strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, but limited times and not all the time. And people say, well, the sugar in fruit is natural sugar, so it's okay. No, it's not. It's not okay, because once the sugar gets in your body, there's not a conductor down there that says you're natural, you go that way, you're fake, you go that way. It's all processed the same in your body, and then raises your blood sugar. So I don't know what else to say.
No, you don't. You did great. So I'm wondering, first of all, like, how did you do your research? Like, how long ago was that? Because I remember, and at first you were telling me that you had no way of doing the research that you could do right now. But when you did do the research, what did you have?
I would just go online, and I found some diabetic groups that I joined on Facebook, on the internet and stuff. And I would look at the menus of what they were eating and would pick out things that I thought, were low carb, no sugar, that I would like. And
Mhm.
you can alter a lot of things. I mean, like pizza. I mean, you can't have pizza crust, of course, it's loaded with carbs. Now you can make your own cauliflower crust. You can make
Mhm.
a crust made with shredded chicken and cheese and use that
Mm.
for a pizza crust. There's so many ways, and it's just it takes work, and it's hard work. It's not easy. It's easier just to eat a regular pizza, but
Right.
this is a lot of work to do. And there's just, I mean, all you have to do is search low carb diets and search, um, low sugar diets for diabetics and stuff, and just pick out the things that work for you, because it's going to be all over the place, and you're going to have people say, well, I eat this and my blood sugar don't spike, and somebody else say, well, I ate that and my blood sugar spikes. So it's a lot of testing that, there's certain things that you can have, like somebody could eat a banana and their blood sugar not spike, but if I eat a banana, my blood sugar is going to spike. I already know that. So
Mhm.
it's just, you have to start eliminating things one by one, and it does take a long time, and it is a lot of work. But
Mhm.
when you start seeing the results and your blood sugar goes down, and your daily blood sugars, should be under 100 would be awesome. But even if you're between
Mhm.
100 and 120, that's acceptable. But being under 100 is pretty awesome. You need to drink lots of water. I used to drink a gallon a day. Now I drink like a half gallon a day. I should drink more water. Water really helps. That helps keep the walking really helps. There's just, it's just the little things that doesn't seem like a lot, but it really means a lot. And there's, you just have to put in the work in, and it's worth it. Your life's worth it, your body's worth it. And it's just, it's just a matter of doing it. And once you set your mind to it and you do it, and I said, it's so rewarding, and you feel so good. I feel so good now that I don't have to have medication, and I don't have to have insulin, and I don't have any sores on my feet. And it's just from the food that I eat, that I just avoid
Mhm.
all the bad stuff. And there's a lot of bad stuff, but it's okay.
Yeah.
You can live without it. I mean, I've
Yeah.
survived all these years not eating all the bad stuff. And people's like, how can you go by without eating chocolate, not eating this, not eating that? And like, it's okay now, because now it's a way of life. And once it becomes a habit and a way of life, it is so much easier to do than in the beginning when you're fighting, your body's fighting. In the beginning, you really should eat a little more fat, because fat makes you feel full, and your body processes the fat to give you energy,
Mhm.
and you really need that. So as time
Mhm.
goes on, and you lose weight and you get your diabetes under control, you can eliminate some of the fat, because eventually, if you're not doing all the exercises or all the walking you should do, the fat's going to stay on your body, because your body's not going to burn it. And then you're going to have
Mhm.
an issue with weight coming back on. So, but in the beginning, you're so hungry, you feel so deprived, that extra fat makes you feel full, and you need that. And as long as you're walking, whatever kind of exercise you want to do, as long as you're doing that, your body's going to burn that fat off. And plus,
Mhm.
if you have a lot of weight to lose, in the beginning, it's really easy. First, you got the water weight that you lose, and then your body starts working on the fat. And when it starts working on the fat, and that's when you really see the weight loss, and you see inches first. I lost inches before pounds, and I would get depressed after a while. So I'm not losing any weight, but I was losing inches. You need to measure yourself, all three of your areas, measure yourself, write those numbers down. And then, do that every 2 weeks and write the numbers down, and you'll see inches before you see pounds. But once you lose so many inches, the pounds will start coming off, and then you'll really see a difference. And you need to get on the scale. You need to be held accountable for what the scale says. And, people are afraid of scales. I know women that's never been on a scale in their life. They're just afraid
Mhm.
of scales because they don't want to know. And I think that's the worst part. People don't want to know. People don't want to go to the doctor if I find out about their diabetes, because they just don't want to know, because they just don't want to do nothing about it. But I've never been like that. I'm very headstrong, and I'm very like, I ain't gonna let this beat me up. I'm not gonna let this diabetes control me or control my life. I'm gonna control it. And once you get it under control, then it makes all the difference in the world.
So I hear like this started like a challenge for you, and part of it, there was fear maybe of starting this path of losing your body, literally losing part of your body. Um, and would you attribute that to be the main reason that you got on this mindset of like, I I'm gonna do it even though it's hard?
Right. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was when they told me, when I had that diabetic ulcer on my foot, and they told me that if it got infected, I could possibly lose my foot. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute. That was it right there. After I heard that, I'm like, nope, you are not cutting off my body parts, and I'm going to figure this out myself. And that's when they wanted to put me on all the medication and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, nope. And I walked out of the doctor's office. And like I said, I did all my research and started. And when I went back in 3 months, my doctor, she almost fell off her chair. She could not believe it. I got my A1C down in 3 months from 12.5 to
Mm-hmm.
5.6 in 3 months with only food and no medication. And she told me I needed to be the poster child for diabetes control.
I would agree. I would
Yeah,
agree with
because I
her.
was doing it. And I said, it's you just have to want it bad enough and be determined. And you don't want, you don't, what I did, and my doctor, of course, my doctor told me never do that because it's scary, but it woke me up a little bit. I went online and I looked at pictures of people with diabetic feet. You do not ever want to do that because it's horrible. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're not even whole feet, they're pieces of feet, because they have cut so many parts off, and it just, the infection just keeps moving and moving, and then you're missing a leg. And I'm just like, no, I can't do that. So I can't do that to my body. I just can't. I don't want to be like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just always been strong-willed, always been like, I can do this no matter what. I've been determined, and it worked for me. I mean, some people can't do it, just can't follow through, just can't, they don't think
Mm-hmm.
about the consequences. Well, I think about the long term, and I think about stuff like that. So that's what really drove me to it, was the very first time that
Yeah.
she said I could lose my foot. I was a whole
Yeah.
new woman after that. I was like,
Beautiful. No, but it is part of like thinking of the long term. I think that's a very important thing, because if we're just searching for the instant pleasure at the moment, is
yes,
what well basically what you were doing in the beginning, where you were like, well, I don't see anything. you
right.
you didn't see the consequences, you didn't see what
No,
would happen in the long term, so
no,
you didn't do anything about it. So this scary moment of going to the doctor, of getting on the scale, of actually seeing where you're heading, it's I mean, I understand why it's scary, but it's also very important, so you have that wake up moment,
right.
I would say. So in regards of how you measure your glucose, do you use like a constant glucose monitor? Do you use the pinching? Like, what method do you use?
No,
It's
I do it with the needle.
mm,
Yeah,
okay.
just do blood sugar like that. And I don't do mine now,
Mm-hmm.
after I eat everything. In the very beginning, you have to, because you're testing new foods and stuff. And you should take your blood sugar. You should do it 30 minutes before you eat what you want to eat, do it 30 minutes after. If the reading is 10 points more than the beginning reading, you shouldn't eat that.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't
Okay.
eat that food item, whatever that food item is, you shouldn't eat that if it's 10 points or more. So if it's the same, then you're fine. Then it's something that you can handle and it's not going to spike your blood sugar. So there's a lot of testing in the beginning to make sure you have the right foods, because everybody will test different on the same
Mm-hmm.
foods. Yeah, because it's all different for all of us. Especially for diabetics, it's all different. So
Mm-hmm.
once you get that down, and then you can still test like in the morning and in the night before you go to bed, and to see what it is. In the morning, it's usually a little higher in the morning when you first wake up.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then after you should drink water when you first get up, because that'll help bring down the morning blood sugar, and then start on whatever food you're going to have for that day. And, there's times that fasting is really good to help get the blood sugar down. And I've done 18-hour fastings where you eat 2 meals within a 6-hour period, and then you fast for 18 hours. So that makes 24, right? Yeah. And then you fast for 18 hours, and then you drink water, or they say you can have black coffee, but you can't put anything in the coffee, and you do that. And it's not so hard if part of the 18 hours is overnight while you're sleeping. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you add that into your fasting time. So then you take your 6 hours of eating, you eat one meal when you get up and you eat another meal. And then you just keep drinking water as much as you can drink water because it does make you feel full. And, you're going to go to potty a lot, but it's going to make you feel full. And then
And
the
detox.
coffee. Yes. Yeah. So that's a good thing though. That's what you want the water to do. But
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah. So once you do that and then, get down the right foods that you can have after you test your foods and stuff. And, then everything just kind of like works together. Then you can know what you eat and what you can't eat. So you don't have to test all the time, and once you get that down, then you'll go into restaurants, look at menus and and there was a time to where a lot of my friends would say, well, we can't really go out to this place because, there's nothing you can eat. So there's always something to eat. There's always salad. There's always, and vinegar and oil dressing, you don't have to worry about the carbs and the sugar and dressing. So you use vinegar and oil, you get a salad, or you can get any kind of meat, you just can't get bread. I mean, you can get grilled chicken or you can get a steak, you can get any kind of meat. So you get a protein and you get a salad. What's wrong with that? That's a meal right there. You're not getting
Mhm.
all the starchy parts. You're not getting the potatoes. You're not getting the bread. You're not getting it. And just when I go out, like to have breakfast, even, you get eggs, bacon, sausage, ham, whatever meat you want, and eggs. And that's fine. That's plenty of food. And once you eat that, you're going to feel full. You don't need the potatoes. You don't need the toast. You don't need the English muffin. You don't need any of that. Because once you get the protein in, there's protein in eggs, and there's protein in the meat, you're going to feel full. And you're not going to get a lot of fat. You get enough fat to make you feel full, but you're not going to get enough fat to add fat to your body, especially if you're active and you're drinking your water and you're active. It's not going to make a difference. It's just going to give you energy and it's going to make you feel
Mhm.
full. And that's the important part because, sometimes you don't feel, you want more food. You're craving food. You want more full food and you don't feel full. And you should wait wait like 20 minutes. Because right away, especially if you get your taste buds riled up, because our taste buds, if we didn't have taste buds, I don't think any of us would have weight problems because
Right.
things so good, and so when you first eat, you just want to keep eating more and more and more, and you're full, your gut hurts, you're ready to bust a belt, you're full, but you keep eating because it's so good. So they say if you eat your regular meal and then wait like 20 minutes, and after that those cravings go away and you don't want to keep gorging yourself with food that you don't need and your body doesn't need and you don't need. And I think a lot of it's a mindset too. And I think a lot of it, sugar is addictive. It's just like
Right.
a habit, just like cocaine. I feel like it's just a habit, like alcohol and anything. Sugar is that addicting, and it's so hard to eliminate it and get off of it. But sugar doesn't do anything to you but make you feel like tired, exhausted, like it runs you down. It doesn't pep you up. It doesn't do that to you. So the more sugar you have, the more it affects you. Like you don't have no energy because the sugar is stored in your body. Your body doesn't use the sugar for anything. It just stores it in your body and then it turns into fat. And you know, then that's not a good thing either. This is the
Mhm.
wrong kind of fat. It's not the healthy fat, it's the bad fat. And that's what you don't want. So
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, do you when you're choosing your fats, do you differentiate which fats are like healthy for you and you can have, and which
mhm.
fats are going to not be so healthy?
Yeah, I think it depends. A lot of people don't want to do any meat with any fat in it at all.
Mhm.
So you want to use just the meats with the lowest fat content. So I would say, and you can cook, like if you're making a steak or something, cook it with the fat on because it gives it flavor, and plus it gives you enough fat. And then cut the fat off. Don't eat the fat, cut the fat off. And the
Mhm.
same way with bacon, they say with bacon, people don't like to eat bacon because it's, because of the fat. Bacon's not a bad thing, but you just have to watch how much you eat. So that the control has a lot to do with it. And and people say, well, eat turkey bacon. Well, I'd rather eat a log than turkey bacon because it's horrible tasting and it has no flavor. So I won't, no, nothing to do. I'll eat the real stuff. And then, people say low fat, low sugar, this, low fat, that. But when they make a product and they take out fat, they put other things in it to replace
Mhm.
the fat. It's just as bad as the fat. So you have to learn how to read labels, first of all, and see what the content is of everything. And I always was told that if a product, and you really should stay away from the processed foods. If you could do your shopping down all the perimeter of the store, like the dairy, the meats, the vegetables, the fruit, don't go down the aisles. That's where all the bad stuff is. That's all the processed food is in the aisles. They say don't go down the aisles. And if you buy something in a box, a processed something that you want to eat, you need to look at the ingredients. I say if it has more than 4 ingredients, don't buy it. If there's an ingredient in there that you can't pronounce, don't buy it. You don't know what you're putting in your body. And so, I mean, and I haven't eaten processed foods, nothing out of a box for, 15 years probably. And that's, and anything like that. And you can do the vegetables, you really should stay away. Canned vegetables, green beans are probably the best. Corn is full of sugar. Peas, they call them sweet peas, right? They're full of sugar. Carrots are full of sugar. And so there's not a lot of canned vegetables that are really good for you. Green beans would be the only thing, but fresh vegetables is always best. But then again, you still can't have corn on the cob. You can't have all the starches like squashes. Spaghetti squash is the only squash that I eat that is the lowest carb. And it is really good. And you just bake it in the oven and you take all you scrape it out with a fork and it looks just like spaghetti. Then you can use your own low sugar, low carb sauce, and you have a spaghetti dinner without the pasta, without the noodles. So there's so many things that you can do like that. And cauliflower is another thing. There's so much you can do with cauliflower, and cauliflower has no flavor. It takes on whatever you make with it. Like you can make potato salad with cauliflower instead of potatoes, and it tastes just the same. It doesn't, I mean, and you just, sometimes you just really gotta have an open mind. Maybe you dream it tastes like potato salad and it really doesn't. It just makes, and cabbage is another good one. All the green vegetables are good. Stay away from corn, carrots, those kind of vegetables. Potatoes for sure, all potatoes. There's a couple potatoes that are like, don't have a lot of starch and carbs in them, but I just don't eat potatoes at all because to me, it just ain't worth it. And frozen stuff, you should stay away from frozen, unless you're using frozen vegetables or something. But all the frozen stuff you shouldn't have. All the stuff in the aisles and the boxes you shouldn't have. It's just, and it's a lot of cleaner. I don't eat completely clean because I do eat things that I probably shouldn't sometimes, but every now and then I treat myself. I've done really well, and I'm not perfect, and I do go off, like a friend had a pizza the other day, and I ate 1 piece with the crust. Then I ate 3 pieces, just the toppings off the crust, and I didn't eat the crust. I ate that little bit of crust. It was probably, I don't know, 100 some carbs or something, but I went ahead and I did it. But I know what I can do and what I can't do now after doing it for so long, and I don't take advantage of it either. I'm not going to go eat a whole pizza now. Oh, I ate 1 piece, so next time I'm going to eat 4 pieces. I don't go down that road. So I stick with it, and I allow myself a few things here and there. And the other day I had a Hershey Kiss, 1 Hershey Kiss. The first one I probably had in 6 months, but it tasted really good and I liked it. So I was like, okay, then I was fine. Awesome. Yeah. So things like that. It's okay. You can't totally deny yourself everything for the rest of your life, as long as you can, control what you're doing and keep it in mind why you're doing it, and just, be limited on what you pick and choose. And I think, and you just have to figure out your own path. And I think that's a big part of it too. And this is what I've done. This is what works for me. And this was my path. And this is what worked for me. So if it can help someone else, then,
Yeah. And I like that you say that this is what worked for me, and that you're mentioning that you do have to test, because not everything, not this exact diet that you have is going to be for everyone. And also keeping in mind that we're talking about regulating diabetes. So if you don't have diabetes, you're just trying to look for yourself, you might have more options. So here's a question. Do you have anything that you truly like you miss but you can't have?
Maybe oatmeal, or I was a big toast and cereal girl in the morning, and I'd like to have oatmeal with toast, or And milk, I haven't drank, milk's the one thing I haven't touched in 15 years. I don't drink any
Oh,
milk, but milk, whole milk is full of sugar and carbs. And so, and I'm not gonna, the other ones are just as bad for you. But I did figure out one thing with heavy cream. If you take heavy cream and you dilute it 50-50 with water, it's like whole milk.
what?
Yeah, and you're not getting the sugar and the carbs. You're getting some fat. You count for the
Which
fat.
is good.
Yeah, which is a good fat. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not bad at all. And it tastes like whole milk, and you can still have some milk. I have done that. I don't do it a lot. I'm used to doing without milk now, so I don't miss it. And I don't eat, bread, like sandwich. And there's stuff,
Mhm.
there's low carb bread, there's low carb wraps. There's so much out there more now than when I first started this journey.
Mhm.
But I've never done those in the past, so I really don't do them now. So, but there is low
Mhm.
carb breads and stuff, but you just have to, depends on how many carbs you allow yourself a day. And as long as you count your carbs and allow for the bread and the wraps, whatever you want to eat that has carbs in them, the cereal, the oatmeal, whatever, if that's part of your carb plan, then you go ahead. You have to figure out how many carbs you want to eat a day. And in the beginning,
Mhm.
I only ate less than 20. So that's like nothing. That's like you're not eating nothing with carbs in it at all, just a little bit of carbs that you get in some vegetables. And so I did that for the longest time. That's how I lost most of my weight and got my diabetes under control, was doing under 20 a day. So now I'm probably around, I'll say off the top of my head, 50 to 100 carbs a day. I would never go under 100. And I can look at something and tell you how many carbs are in it. I just know all that. And I know, whether it's a good carb or a bad carb. And my friends, when we go out and eat and stuff, they're just amazed the way I pick apart a menu and say, no, you can't have that. You can't have that, but I can have this, I can have this. And there's still a lot of options. And people think there's not when you eat a certain diet or a certain way of life, that
Mhm.
so many things are eliminated, the good things. Well, a lot of good things are eliminated, but there's things that you can do to have them same things, but in a different way. It's just more work. It's more work to do it. But if you put in the time and you put it, it's worth it. I mean, you can use
Mhm.
almond flours, you can use a coconut flour, and you can still have your pancakes, but you have to use alternative flours. Those are nut flours. You can have nut flours. There's no carbs, maybe 2 carbs. There's no carbs in nut flours.
Hmm.
So there's another way. If you want your pancakes, you want your waffles, just get a different, look up a recipe online. Buy coconut flour, measures cup for cup. No, the almond flour does. Almond flour measures the same as regular flour. Coconut flour is very dense. So it measures, I think it's a third cup, but everybody would have to check it out for sure. A third cup
Mhm.
to 1 cup of regular flour would be a third cup of coconut flour. But almond flour is cup for cup. It measures the same as regular flour. So, you just have to, you can, instead of using pancake mix out of the box, which is a big no-no, just get the alternative flours and make your own pancakes, make your own waffles. And, so you can still have the thing. It takes a little research. It takes a little work, and it takes a little time. It's not like,
Mhm.
grabbing a frozen pancake out of the freezer, it's different.
Right. Yeah, it's relearning and choosing. Like right now, my husband is going with a carnivore diet. And I'm not. I am like, give me everything. And he does see what I eat, and sometimes he does say like that looks so good. And and then he says, but I can't have it. And I'm like, no, you could have it if you want to, but you're choosing not to. Like he
Mhm.
has his why quite set. It's like why he's doing this diet, which is to detox his body from certain toxins.
Mhm.
So if you, I think that's important too, to know that it's you're making this choice, and as long as you understand your why, in this case, I think your why has surpassed the scary uh, uh, losing parts of your body. I think it has become more than just
Yes,
that right now. That it's easy to choose the healthier option.
right.
And
Absolutely.
if I would ask you, well, I'm going to ask you, you well, at first it was this the news that you were going to lose parts of your body. What is it now that motivates you to keep choosing the healthier option?
I never want to go back to be in that position again. It was the scariest time of my life. And I'm just so proud and I feel so good about how far
Mhm.
I've come. And I get praise from so many people in my life. And I don't want to ruin it for them either and say, oh, I'm a failure now. I can't. So I stay strong for that too. And my family, my friends keep me strong to that. And so I don't know. It's just a way of life. And I don't
Mhm.
I don't want to go the other direction. And I don't ever see me doing that. I'm not that weak. I'm strong. And I'm just like, because it was such a scary time in my life. And I don't want to put my body through that again. And I don't want to put my mind through that again or anything else through that again. And I just, I'm determined I will live this way and eat this way for the rest of my life. And eventually, diabetes is a progressive disease and eventually it'll get the best of everybody. And so, but I'm going to push that day back as far as I can and just want to, I just want to be here in the now and do all the things I enjoy and be a part of everything. And, I'm not letting, the food control me. I'm not doing that any longer. Because at one time, when we overeat like that and we're heavy and we are sick and we just, it's all about the food. And to me now it's all about a different life. It's not all about the food. And I mean, we need to, eat to
Mhm.
survive, not, we live to eat, not eat to live. No, we eat to live and not live to eat, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And that's when I can say it right, and that's what I try to do. I just eat, little meals when I need to eat, and then then I'm fine. And I don't overdo it. I don't overstuff myself. I don't. And sometimes I'll go out with my girlfriends, and they're all getting like tonight. We go out on fish fries every Friday here in Eagle River, and and we go to different restaurants and everything, and they're getting all this plates full of food and stuff. And sometimes I'll get baked fish. I'll get one piece of baked fish and a little side salad. They're like, "That's all you're going to eat?" That's really a lot of food. I mean, the fish is like big as your hand
Yeah.
and eating a salad. How much more food do you need? But they're stuffing all these potatoes and breads and, stuff in their faces. And, I'm just like, I just can't do that. I can't eat like that. I don't want to eat like that. It's not necessary to eat like that to live. I mean, we don't need that much food to live on, actually.
Mhm.
We've overeat our whole lives as children for me. So we're sit down and we eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We don't need
Mhm.
3 meals a day. Our bodies don't need 3 big meals a day. It doesn't. And that's why we have some of the heaviest people in the world that live in our country. The
Right.
healthiest people live in our country because it's the way we eat. It's the way our food is processed. It's not like it used to be. You can't eat corn and wheat like you used to. It's processed over and over and over again. It becomes bad for you. None of that stuff's good for you anymore, so
Yeah, it's been genetically modified. And you
yes,
can see that in the labels. It
yes.
says GMO or
Mhm.
bioengineered.
Yeah,
And that's something that if you do choose to buy, to consume, just be aware of what you are putting in your
mhm.
body.
That's it.
Um,
You got
because
to be your own best advocate. You got to. No one else is going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. You have to take the bull by the horns, they say, and just do
Mhm.
it yourself. And you can have a real long, healthy life if you do the right things. And eating's the most important part of that, to eat the right things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do find sometimes that that amount of food, it actually, or that sugary food, that starchy food, it actually doesn't make you feel good. Like at the moment, it tastes good, but afterwards, you feel ill. This
Yeah.
like belly discomfort. There's
Yeah.
if I eat too much sugar, and too much sugar for me that I don't normally eat that much sugar, it has me with this dysphoria, like this negative discomfort energy that
Yeah, it does. It
it's
it wears you down. You have no energy.
yes,
And then when
yes,
you when you still eating sugar, your body will crave the sugar and you want more sugar and you just keep
right.
over and over again. You're putting all this more because it does immediately. It feels good. It's like, oh, that tastes so good. It feels so good because you're getting something sweet. I
Mhm.
don't understand why sugar was even ever invented because if we didn't have
Oh,
sugar, I know we wouldn't be addicted to it, or our country wouldn't be in the shape that it's in, and we wouldn't know the difference if sugar never existed. And I
Right.
praise people now that have babies and they're raising their kids, and they don't introduce sugar into their diets when they're little. And if you grow up that way, I mean, there's gonna be, as you get older, there's gonna be temptations to eat a candy bar with your friends and stuff. But if you're not
Right.
shoved sugar in your face when you're a little kid and get the taste for sugar, because it's a craving, it's an addiction, then I
Mm-hmm.
think it's easier as you get older and get into adulthood to avoid the bad things with sugar in it, and not because it's never been a part of your eating style, your eating way. And I mean, sometimes it may work, and sometimes people may go off the other direction and want a bunch of sugar because they never had it. But I just think that's a good thing to not start kids out, feeding them full of sugary stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think it was pushed on our diet of the commercial foods that we are pushing. I mean, you don't see commercials about an apple. You, you see commercials
Yeah.
about fast food and
Yeah. Oh
candy and
yeah.
all of that.
Oh yeah.
So it's a great marketing agenda
Mhm.
because if you are addicted to it, in this case with the sugar, then you're going to buy it, and if you're going to buy it, you're going to make more
Right.
money. So it's not that they're evil, it's just people found this way of making money.
Mhm.
You vote with your dollar if you're going
Mhm.
to if they're going to continue doing it or not.
Right. Right.
So let's go on a happy note, and let's talk about what are your favorite dishes. What are your favorite meals?
I just mainly, because it's easiest for me, because I'm retired, but I have such a busy lifestyle. Even being retired, I do
Yes.
every day. I'm active doing things, and to me, it's just a simple protein and a salad. And sometimes, I do cottage cheese sometimes instead of a salad, but mainly it's just like a grilled piece of chicken, or just a little fillet or something, or a little pork chop or something like that. And just, and every morning I eat two hard boiled eggs for breakfast every morning, just two hard boiled eggs and nothing else. And usually not much for lunch. And then maybe just some cheese, some sausage, maybe. I'll take a little thing to work. I do volunteer work, so I take a little thing of a little cut up cheese and a little bit of sausage or something, and
Mhm.
take that to work with me and have that around noon, 1 o'clock as a little snack. And then my dinner every night is about the same. I switch meats, but I stick with salad, and I stick with cottage cheese as an alternative to salad, and just a piece of meat, and it's plenty. I'm full at the end of the night, and I don't snack. I don't, there's no snacks in my house whatsoever.
Mhm.
So it's just, that's just the way, that's just what works for me.
Right.
I'm not a person that needs a lot of variety of stuff. I mean, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot that you can do different than what I do as far as low carb, no sugar. But I
Mhm.
picked the simplest way for me because of my activities and stuff. And I do eat out a lot. 2 or 3 times a week I'm eating out, but I still stick with the same thing. Or I'll get I love chicken wings, but I have to get them naked, so I like
Mhm.
a place I know has naked wings, so I'll get like six naked wings. And if I know I'm going there, I have a sugar-free barbecue sauce that I take with me in a little container in my purse, so I can have that. Or
Mhm.
I'll get garlic Parmesan sauce. Doesn't
Oh
have
yeah.
anything in it. Yeah, I'll get that for my, and that's my dinner. And it's an appetizer. And people are like, well, that's an appetizer. What are you gonna have for dinner? No, that's my dinner.
Mhm.
Six wings is enough for dinner. So I'll have something like that, or I'll get a salad, or grilled chicken salad. And if I get that, that's a big salad. And I take half of that home with me, and I got something for the next day. And so that's just, and it's just, I don't eat a lot of food, period. And it
Mhm.
just, yeah, just works that way for me.
Okay, so I find that sometimes I'm describing what I eat, and I'm like salivating when I'm describing, because and I'm like, oh, is this soup? And you have I do like rice noodles, and then you put like not shrimp, mushrooms and cabbage, and you get this broth, and people that are not used to eating, I mean, much veggies, they look at me and they they seem I mean, I've been told like, well, that sounds very bland. But honestly, like I think what makes it pop and sound so delicious to me is because of all the spices that I put in.
Hmm.
I mean, if you just cook chicken with no salt and pepper or any
Right.
spices, of course it's going to be bland. But
Yeah.
however they're thinking of chicken is how they prepare it,
Hmm.
and that tastes good. That sounds good to them. So let's talk about how you prepare your food. Like, what are your spices? How do you put this delicious taste or spurs
Hmm.
of taste into your food?
Well, I don't use a lot of salt, but I use garlic
Mhm.
powder and I use black pepper. And I'm not a big spice person, so something like that is very simple. I love to do mushrooms, so I can fry
Mm.
mushrooms and use them on chicken or on steak or whatever. So that would work. I don't do a lot of onions because when you do I do like red onions in a salad, but to
Mm.
fry onions to like mushrooms and onions on like a steak or something, when you fry an onion too long, it caramelizes and it brings out the sugar in the onion. So that it tastes wonderful, but that's not a good thing. So I try not to do that too often and mostly stick with, it's just, I'm just really very basic. I don't have to have a lot of seasonings and spices. I mean, there's a few things I use like garlic powder, pepper, and I just, just use a pan. Sometimes I'll put the chicken in the oven. Sometimes I'll put it in a crock pot, a bunch of chicken breast, and then shred it. And then I have shredded chicken and I can use that for different things. Sometimes I'll go to Quick Trip and I'll buy rotisserie chicken and I'll
Mhm.
take it all off the bones and put it in a big zippy bag or big bowl in my fridge. Then I have that chicken I can eat. And it's already cooked when I come home. I can eat that. I can throw it on the salad. I can just put it in a bowl and heat up in the microwave and put a little bit of my sugar-free barbecue sauce on it, and that's enough for my dinner, and I'm fine with that. Or maybe I'll do green beans. Sometimes I'll take 4 cans of green beans and I'll put them all in the same pot and I'll season them with garlic powder, pepper, whatever seasonings I want to put on them, and then cook them down, cook them, and then when they're done, I put them in a big bowl in my fridge, and then I can pull out the green beans as a side. And sometimes
Mhm.
I'll just eat a bowl of green beans because I'm not that hungry. And I mean, after a while, after eating like this for a while, I mean, you still have some, I can't say I never have cravings, but I do, but it
Mhm.
doesn't take a lot to fill me up. So when I go home and I just feel like I just want a bowl of green beans, so I'll just take a bowl, and it's a soup bowl, it's a good size, and I'll put some butter on top of them and I'll heat them up in
Mhm.
my microwave, and I'll have that for my dinner. And when I'm done, I'm full, and I don't, and maybe that's not the right way to do it, because I don't see, I'm not getting the protein, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that, but I don't want to stuff myself with all that food either. So, and I get full really easy. It doesn't take a lot for me to get full anymore. So just a small bowl of something, and I, as
Mhm.
far as I know, and not deprived of anything. I mean, when I go to the doctor, all my blood numbers are good, and my iron, everything's fine, and I do take some supplements. I take vitamin C, all the stuff that you need to take as you get older, all the supplements. So I do take supplements, and my numbers are good as far as my sodium and my everything. And so what I'm doing seems to be okay.
Seems to be working.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you would share, I mean, I don't know if you have like rules of thumb, but if you would share like any rules of thumb, what would be like the top three, if you have any?
Hmm. I don't know.
When choosing, okay, I didn't finish the question now that
Okay.
now that I think about it. Rules of thumb when choosing your food at the grocery store.
Hmm. Well, I basically do what I spoke about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't shop down the aisles. I just shop unless I'm getting sugar-free barbecue sauce or something like that, but I don't buy anything processed in packages. And I don't eat a lot of frozen processed food at all. And I just go down and get some vegetables for salad. And usually I just get the salad mix in a bag,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll add my own vegetables to it. I'll get tomatoes, and you have to be careful with tomatoes. Tomatoes is considered a fruit. There are
Right.
sugar in tomatoes. So you have to see if tomatoes spike you before you use a lot of tomatoes. They don't me, so I do eat tomatoes. So a lot of diabetics can't eat tomatoes. That's something they would have to test. And I grabbed cucumbers, and usually that's it. Cucumbers and maybe a red onion. I like red onion. I like a crunch in a salad. So I like the red onion in a salad. And I'll grab those things. I'll go over to the meat department, grab a couple different packages of meat, whether it's going to be chicken thighs, which are really good, chicken thighs or chicken breast. I usually get the boneless, skinless ones. And then maybe grab a couple of steaks or just little fillets or something for my steak meat. And then go over to so I got the vegetables, I got the meat. And there's besides cheese, and it depends on, how you feel about cheese. There's a lot of fat in cheese. I do eat cheese and I don't overdo cheese. But that's about the only thing that I get in the dairy. And butter, I do use, and I don't use a lot of butter, but I do use it for cooking and stuff. So you want real butter and no oleo or margarine, nothing like that. You want to use real butter. The fat in real butter is a good fat. It is. The fat that's in the creamer, not the creamer, but what we were talking about earlier. Heavy cream, bucket
yes.
of heavy cream. Yeah, the heavy cream, the fat in there is not a bad fat either. That's what I've always heard. That's a good fat too, because there is fat in there, but there's no sugar. There might be a half of a carb or something like that. And then other than that, that's about it. That's all I really, because I don't do bread, so I don't go down the bread aisle. I don't do nothing. I don't do cookies, cakes, candies. And if I need to buy the green beans, I'll go down and get the cans of green beans. And other than that, I don't eat anything in a can besides green beans. And sometimes I'll grab some frozen vegetables. I'll do cauliflower. I love broccoli. So broccoli and cauliflower are good to make in a salad and to add to your salad or make it by itself. I love broccoli salad. And sometimes I've done kale, but stuff like that, and that kind of vegetables and stuff. But usually that's about it. And my food budget is not very huge because I don't buy a lot of different things, and just enough. And I only do that like every couple of weeks because I do eat out, so I do have that food, and I bring leftovers home and have another meal out of the leftovers because they do give you a lot of food when you go out to eat.
Right.
Yeah, more than you need to eat.
So, okay, we've talked about food. Have we talked? I don't think we've talked about drinks. Like, do you just drink water?
Yes, I do drink a diet soda every now and then. I don't drink, I've never been a big pop drinker. So every now and then sometimes when I have wings that are a low carb beer, you don't need to talk about that, right? Beer and wings kind of go together.
Yeah.
And there's a Miller 64, which is a low carb beer. It has like one in the whole thing. So, but that's good. But other than that, no, only water. I only drink water. I do drink coffee, but I drink my coffee black. I don't put anything in coffee. So I do drink coffee. I usually drink decaffeinated coffee, which some people says is better for you. And some people say it's worse for you. So I'm not really sure, but I don't want all the caffeine. So I drink the decaf coffee. And yeah, I don't drink any fruit juices. There's more sugar in fruit juices than there are the actual fruit. Because it's concentrated and there's more sugar. So I don't drink any juices like that. Sometimes I'll drink the iced tea with no sugar in it. They make that at the big bottles of iced tea at the grocery store. I don't know the brand name on them, but there is one that it's just regular tea, has no sugar, nothing in it. Sometimes I'll get it with lemon in it. So that's an alternative to have instead of drinking so much water. But I'm such a big water drinker. I mean, I drink water. I got a bottle of water with me. Like right now in the car, I got water constantly, and always at my house, there's a container of water next to my chair. And when I go to bed, there's a container of water. So I work, we got bottled water at work where I work. And, so I'm drinking water constantly at work. So that's the big thing is the water. And after a while, and, water has no flavor. And a lot of people I know people won't even touch water,
Right. Yeah.
But it's so good. Our bodies need water, So that's about it as far as beverages go. But yeah, there's not much left after that, I don't think.
Yeah. Do you miss any drinks?
No, I don't miss anything. I used to like fruit juices. A grape juice was a favorite. Orange juice was a favorite. I've never been an apple juice fan, but those were my two favorite juices was grape and orange juice. And so, but no, I don't miss them. Because I don't want the sugar, because I know how bad it made me feel. So I don't miss anything that I used to eat before. And it was hard in the beginning. It was. You're eliminating so much stuff at one time. It's kind of overwhelming. But after you do it and after you start feeling better and after you see the results, it's all worth it. It's worth it never to drink milk again and never drink the sugary juices again. It's worth it because you do feel so much better. Your body feels better. You have more energy, and it's
Mhm.
in the long run, it's really worth it. But it is hard in the beginning. It is very hard to give everything up that you loved and that was good and tasted good and all that.
Mhm. But it seems like now you have other things that you enjoy
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. I
So,
stay busy. Yeah.
mhm. So, uh, is there something um, regard that you can tell people, not necessarily that they're diabetic, but they're looking to take better care of their body? Something that you can tell them about how to think about their process. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, sort of. I think that the way that I eat is healthy for everyone, not just diabetics. It helps you
Hmm.
control blood sugar for sure, but it's a healthy way to eating to people that don't have diabetes even. Because why do you need to stuff all the carbs and sugar in your body, whether you're diabetic or not? You don't need them. Our bodies don't need it to survive. We don't need any of that in our bodies. So I think
Hmm.
it's a good way to eat, whether you're diabetic or not. So if more people did it, I think that they would see a lot more weight loss, a lot more energy, a lot more, feeling better. And even if they didn't have any health concerns, and a lot of people, they don't worry about health concerns until they get
Right.
them. So, and when you're younger, you don't think about what's going to happen when you're older. You're living a young life. You're doing what you want. You're eating what you want. It doesn't seem to affect you. You don't gain a pound. You don't do this. You don't do that. But as you get older, all that creeps up on you and little things start to show. And, you don't burn it. You start to gain weight around the middle, especially, and
Hmm.
women. And that's just, where you're sitting more, you're not active like you were in your 20s, you're in your 40s now. And you're sitting in front of the TV more than you're out running around with your friends and doing things, and you're still eating the same way, or you're eating worse because as time goes on, our food quality gets worse and worse, so then you're eating worse. So that just, and all of a sudden there you are, then you have these health problems. But if you start when you're younger, eating better and taking better care of yourself, as you get older, it's not going to be, I mean, you're still going to have some issues, but it's not going to be as bad or as hard to deal with if you
Hmm.
take care of it when you're younger or so. So I think anybody that, wants to have a healthy future, or when they're older, still be healthy, should eat better when they're younger, and whether they have any health issues or not.
I love it. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you think it's important to say that I haven't asked you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, you gave us a really thorough
I try. I talk in
picture.
circles sometimes, but yeah, I really tried. And it's
Yeah,
like this has been a lot of years for me, so I really had to go back and think about this and how did I do this? How did I do that? Since I've been doing it for so long. But yeah, but it's all there. It's still in my mind, and yeah, and I make it work. So
that's beautiful. Thank you so much for doing this. I think that if you keep spreading your story, it's going to help a lot of people that might not even know that they need the help.
yeah,
But just like thinking of the diet that we have in America, um, my husband and I have this joke that the standard American diet is sad, and it's standard American diet. It's sad, because
that's
it
it.
is very unhealthy of how the foods that are getting pushed on us
Yeah.
just for profit.
Yeah, and we think we need to eat the way they teach us to eat, but we don't have to. We eat. We just need to do our own research and figure out our own journey, our own path, and follow that. And who cares what the American Diabetic Social or diabetes is, whatever. Who cares what they say? I think they're
Mhm.
a racket anyhow. And I think most of it is where, when you eat so bad for so many years, you end up on a bunch of medications. And so maybe the pharmaceutical people are in that too. So I don't know.
I do agree because
Yeah.
unfortunately our medical the Western medicine is it's not, it has its place, and I think it has its place on emergencies and
I agree.
extreme cases.
I agree.
Absolutely. And thank God is there for that. But we need to focus more on prevention. We
Mhm.
don't need to be sick. We don't need to get to a point where we're dealing with all these treatments and all these medications that provoke other illnesses too, other discomforts, other
Mhm.
medical conditions. So
That's
I
right.
love what you're doing. I love like how you take care of yourself, what you do, and you know what? There is something I wanted to ask you that I haven't. It's about what do you do for yourself? What do you do for fun to take care of yourself, for self-care? I know you do a lot of things, uh, but like, what do
I don't
you?
do a lot of, well, I have my eyebrows done. That's a treat. And sometimes I get my nails done, but I
Mhm,
really don't do a lot for my joy is doing what I do through my volunteer work and helping other people. And my family and my friends come first. And that's all I ever want. I'm just not, I just don't. I'm not a fancy girl. I mean, look at my hair.
mhm.
And I don't wear makeup. I mean, look at my face.
Mhm,
But this is just me. And I don't want to pretend to be somebody I'm not. So
mhm.
I'm like right there and I put it all out there and people just know everything. And it just makes my world. And that's just, yeah, it
It,
just makes it everything so good.
I'm glad you answered that way because I find a lot of people think of like self-care as pampering yourself, just doing
Right.
your breasts, doing your nails, doing like going to the spa, going to the salon. Uh, but I feel and I believe that self-care goes much deeper than that. Yeah, pampering is good, but let's go back to the basics. Are you hungry? Are you cold? Are you clean? Are you rested? Sleep is so important because there's so much that happens when you rest. Not even just sleep, it's just resting your body.
Mm-hmm.
Are you healthy? If we go back to that, I think if you can take care of that, the rest of it is an add-on. The rest of it is a
Right.
luxury that you can still
Mm-hmm.
take on,
Right.
but it's being with your friends, being with your family, having some time for yourself, eating well, um, and just procuring that you're doing things that are making you healthy and happy. And I think that's what you're doing. And I am
That's what I'm
I'm
trying so hard to do.
and I think you do it, and I see it in you, and I'm a big fan of this because it was no question in my mind. If I was going to share a story with my girls, it would be definitely yours, and I truly do appreciate you having the time to do this.
You're amazing.
No, you, no,
No,
you're
you
amazing.
are.
Thank you so much, Theresa. And thank you everyone for watching. I hope this brought you value as it did to me. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.